mis amores, and welcome back to my channel. It's Rad Thicker 24 here. And this video is gonna be about my alopecia story and how I dealt with it, how I'm dealing with it now, and just kind of the ups and downs of it, and how to deal with it yourself if you're going through the same thing. Because it can be very traumatizing, you know. I remember the first day I found out. Well, at first I didn't know what was going on. Basically, my boyfriend at the time, he was commenting on like how much my hair would be left like wherever I sat or laid down, like at his house. And then I was kind of embarrassed by it, so I kind of just like shook it off. I didn't want to comment on it. This had to be, I think this started like 3 or 4 years ago. It's been. Basically, I didn't know what was going on. I was kind of like, I didn't want to like deal with it, kind of, because I was like, what if there's something wrong? Like, he was like, maybe you should go to the doctor or something like that. And I was like, no, like it's normal, like everybody like sheds their hair. And I didn't think anything of it. And then I remember I was driving home from work one day. It was late, and I was just like massaging my head, and I was like, man, my hair is like really soft right here. My hair was not soft. It was gone. It was my skin. And I didn't take pictures. Some people have like documentation. I didn't document it because I didn't plan on making a video about it until now. But I don't know why anybody would want to document it, because it hurts, you know. I mean, you're not your hair. I'm not my hair, but you know, your hair is, for a woman, it's like your crown, you know, it's your glory. It's how you express yourself a lot of the time. So when you lose that, it can be very traumatizing. So I remember I got home, and then I looked at the spot. I kid you not. It was a bald spot, like right here, like the lower left side of my head. And the size of it was like this, like that big. It's like a mini baseball, pretty much. So I instantly started crying. I remember, and I wasn't like a kid at the time. I was like in my early 20s, and I ran and woke up my mom, and I was like, Mom, my hair is gone. And then she was just like, calm down, like it's okay. And then she came and she was like, let me see. And she was trying to be like calm because I'm like freaking out. And then she's like, she was like, let me see. And then I parted my hair and I showed her, and she was like, oh. And then she like caught herself, and she was like, oh, it's not that bad. I was like, yes, it is. And then like I went to the doctor the next day, and then I pretty much cried myself to sleep. And then I went to the doctor, and he was like, I don't think this is, he was like, it could be like a issue, like, because of course I also Googled as well, so a bunch of different stuff came up. I didn't know what to think, but alopecia did come up, but I briefly like went over that the night before. But I figured the thing to do was to go to my doctor. So, and he was like, could be like a vitamin deficiency or something like that, but he was like, you should go see a dermatologist because has to do with your skin. So I went to the dermatologist, and she looked at my head, and then she said instantly, she was like, yep. She was like, this is Alopecia areata. And she explained to me what it was. Basically, it's a autoimmune disorder. Like if you have an allergy to peanuts or something like that, or hay fever, any allergic reaction, your body just kind of freaks out for no reason, kind of. Basically with alopecia, your body kind of freaks out about your hair follicles and thinks that they're gonna harm your body in some way, so it attacks your hair follicles. So basically your body is killing your hair follicles. That's probably not the best description, but that's how I understood it. If I explain anything that's incorrect in any way, feel free to correct me. But basically, that's why your hair falls out. So she recommended to me that I take Claritin every day while it was happening, that I limit the manipulation to my hair. I also started getting cortisone injections, which hurt because the skin on your scalp is very thin, so when they stick a needle in there, it hurts. So I would go and do that, I believe, every couple months. I haven't gotten that done in a long time. But I eventually got to the point where I decided I did not want to do that anymore. It's because there's some side effects with like thinning of skin and things like that in that area that can happen. But initially that's what we did to fill in that spot. And basically it started to come in like around the edges first, and then the middle started to fill in some. She also informed me that sometimes the pigment could, your hair could come in pretty much white sometimes in that area, but most times it'll darken back up again. I didn't experience that too much. I think I got maybe like a couple strands that were white and then they turned dark again. So this was happening for a while. And then like I would keep going back for the shots, and then eventually the spot grew back in. And I remember one day I was like, well, is it done? Like, is this something I'm gonna have to live with like for the rest of my life? Or like how long is this gonna last? And really like there's from what I've seen and my research that I've done, which is not a whole lot, but enough for me to understand what was going on with my body and to comprehend why this was happening to me is what I looked into. But basically, there's not, like, it's kind of a mystery still, alopecia. There's no cure for it. There's different things that you can do to aid in hair growth or regrowth, which I'll talk about too as well. But basically, like, they don't really know why the body does it. So, and that can be discouraging. So when I found that out, it was kind of like a realization, because she pretty much told me like this could last for a month, this could last for a year, this could last forever. You just never know. So basically, I'll give you a brief timeline. After that, I thought I was done. I was like, okay, the spot's growing in. I'm done with this. I can move on with my life. And then I got another bald spot. But this one was a tiny one. And I didn't cry that time. I had pretty much come to the realization like, okay, I'm dealing with this. I have this disorder. And let me go back to the dermatologist again. She gave me the injections and the hair started to grow back again. And then a lot of times I would get matching ones. So if I got one here, I would get one on this side too in a similar spot. But I think in total, over like the span of like 4 years or so, since this first happened to me, I probably have had like 6 spots, which doesn't sound like a lot, but my hair has thinned out a lot. My hair is still pretty thick, and I thank God that I do have thick hair, because people that have thin hair or not like straight hair naturally, I can just imagine what you're going through, because like when I had those spots, like I had to wear my hair in certain ways just to cover it. and I kind of try not to cry. But because it's emotional. I feel like I've come to the point where I I'm dealing with it. I don't get big spots anymore because when I do find a spot, like I will literally like just like search my head for spots sometimes, because I've noticed that if I don't know that there's a spot, because it starts out really tiny. Usually like it starts out like that small. As time goes on, if I don't deal with it, it gets wider and wider and wider in that spot. So when I find a spot in my hair, and since it is thick, it's sometimes hard to find. But the way I try to judge it is not by, because I don't want to let this like dictate my life and how I live my life. And then also a lot of times alopecia is induced by stress. So it's counterproductive to stress about something that happens when you're stressed, you know? So I try not to do that, and I try not to obsess about it. So I eventually stopped searching my head for spots. So what I do now is if as I'm washing my hair, I wash my hair like twice a week, co-wash once, and then use shampoo later on in the week. I will look at how much comes out in my brush. If I notice more is coming out, I know, okay, I probably have a spot somewhere. I'm probably gonna get a spot somewhere. And again, this doesn't happen very often. It's not like a once a week thing. This is like once every couple months, or not even couple months, every few months, like 3 or 4 or 5 months sometimes. The longest I've gone without a spot is probably like a year. I thought recently that I was done with it maybe, but then I noticed some areas in the back of my head were thinning, and yeah, I can try to take pictures too, but the spots are not, they're not like huge spots, and they're not super noticeable. Basically it's just thinning of the hair in that area, like actual like bald spots. And I haven't got like an actual bald spot in like maybe like 2 years actually. So maybe it's coming to a close, and I'll be able to move past that part of my life. From the research I've done, I know some people have only had it for like a couple months. Some people have had it for years, and then it just stops. And they never get another spot again, or maybe like they go a couple of years and then it comes back. So I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen. All I can do is just live my best life and enjoy the hair that I have, as long as I have it, and thank God for giving me really full hair, and for giving me hair at all, you know, because there are a lot of people that don't have alopecia areata, they have alopecia totalis, which is the shedding of your hair on your entire body. So your eyebrows are gone, your eyelashes are gone, the hair on your head is gone. And I can just imagine how different my life could be if that was what I was going through. But basically what I do now, if anyone's looking for like a solution to if you're going through what I'm going through right now, basically what I usually do is, like, if I find that I'm shedding a lot or I'm getting a bald spot, I will start taking Claritin. I don't recommend taking Claritin if you don't have a bald spot. You don't want to be taking Claritin every day of your life. And it's not good for you. But while you have the spot, take Claritin, because that'll help stop the shedding, or slow it down, because it is an autoimmune disorder. Just like you would take Claritin for allergies. It's the same, it's along the same lines, the same concept. So I do that. I also will put castor oil on the area. A lot of times I'll use a mix of castor oil and tea tree oil. I have not gotten the shots in a long time. I think I did that for the first 2 spots, and after that I was like, you know, I don't want to do that anymore. Plus the spots weren't as big, they're really tiny, so I didn't see any sense in doing that to my body. Plus it was very expensive. My insurance covered it, but there's still some that I had to pay. It would end up being like $40 each time I went. So that's how much was left, at least at that time. So yeah, that was part of the reason why I stopped. But so that's pretty much what I do, and then that seems to help grow the areas back a lot. I'm also using that mixture right now as well too, just because if you watch my last video, I did chop a lot of my hair off. This is my hair. In the last video I showed you what my hair looks like straight out of the shower with no product in it. This is my hair in a flat twist out. If you want to see like how I do that style, just comment below. And I'll do like a tutorial on it, how I do it, because I'm really bad at like fluffing my hair and stuff like that. With a flat twist out, it's like it's already fluffed for you pretty much, but this is like how I usually wear it. Still getting used to the length. Before, when it was curly, it would like touch my shoulders and like rest on top of my shoulders, so it's like it doesn't even barely do that now. Like, see, it's very short. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions on how I deal with alopecia, mentally, physically, things I do to grow back the spots, which typically grow back within like a few weeks. So to be honest, it doesn't really affect my life as much as it did before, which I'm very thankful for, and I hope it continues to improve. And if you're going through the same thing, I pray that it does the same for you, and that you can not let it dictate your life, and know that whether you have hair on your head or not, whether you have eyebrows, whether you have eyelashes or not, you're still beautiful, inside and out, and continue to love yourself. All right, thanks guys. Bye.